Hi, everybody. Welcome to Q&A with Share's marketing team. My name is Alyssa Ware, and I work on the marketing team for Share headquarters. And I'm here with...
I'm Steph Lansrati, and I also work on the marketing team with Share headquarters.
And we head up a lot of the social media efforts, and we're getting excited for Share Atlanta, and we hope you are too. We want to make sure that you are making the most out of your time there and utilizing social media to engage with the audience and bring more attention to your booths and your company. So we're here to answer any questions you might have or offer any advice that you might have. Feel free to send them via chat, or you can tweet them at us by tagging us at ShareHQ or using the event hashtag ShareATL. So just to cover what we've already done, we've produced 3 recorded videos that you can reference at any time. They're part of the exhibitor resources on the Share Atlanta website. They cover the basics and then a little bit more advanced, and they're separated into 3 parts. So if you ever need to go back and reference those, they're available to you at any time. And this recording will be posted this week as well. So feel free to start shooting us your questions. A common question we get is there an event-specific hashtag? And for those that are Share veterans, I know you're probably used to the hashtag ShareOrg. But for the first time this year, we're using one event-specific. We're going to use hashtag ShareATL on site to really highlight the event and what's going on in Atlanta as compared to what we do all year round with Share. So we encourage everyone to use hashtag ShareATL to join in on that conversation during the event and as we lead up to the event.
Another common theme that was covered in the 3 videos was planning ahead and how to use scheduling tools, and something that is definitely recommended would be to plan your tweets ahead of time and to make sure that you're covering all your bases on events that you know will be taking place as well as live tweeting.
And some might ask, why would I live tweet? And the greatest benefit to it is really that you're making yourself a part of the conversation. All the attendees are very active on Twitter during the event, and we want you to capitalize on that and become a part of it. So even if it's not specific to your booth, to your company, and it's more just about the event or tidbits you heard if you were in the halls or at a session, or responding to someone else, making yourself seem more like a fellow attendee versus a brand kind of closes that gap and creates a level of comfort that might then drive that person to come visit your booth or learn more about your company.
And it looks like we just received a question, and it was, what do you think is the most effective social media to use at Share? Our most popular one I would definitely say is Twitter on site, but Facebook is also really popular too. And you can also use hashtags on Facebook, so definitely be sure to use hashtag ShareATL in all of your Facebook posts about the event and during the event.
The benefit to Twitter is that it's timely, and you can post as often as you want, versus Facebook, you're really going to only post maybe a handful of times per day. So we do recommend Twitter when it comes to capturing the experience, really engaging with attendees, and we're going to have the Twitter walls that we've had the last few years that are up and around the event. So if you're participating in that conversation, you can see your tweets, your brand up on those walls. We also got another question that says, how do I find the mobile app that references San Antonio? So our app actually is going to update for each event, so I don't think you have the ability to go back and reference previous year's events. San Antonio information I don't think is available anymore. But if there's some specific information you're looking for, feel free to email us, media@share.org, and we'd be happy to assist you in finding it.
We received another question, are there any networking areas within the exhibit hall? And there are. Visit the share booth, and there's different lounges, and this year we're going to be offering different sections in the booth that will have cover different topics and give different chances to network with all sorts of people, as well as the different exhibitors that will be taking place.
Well, also just talking about the exhibit hall and what's available, we will be tweeting out times where the Share marketing team is available to answer any questions. So, if you want to talk to us in person, we're there if you have any hiccups, questions, or challenges you're facing when it comes to social media and engaging with our attendees. We will be making ourselves available throughout the week for an in-person Q&A.
We received another question. When does the Atlanta portion get added to the app? The San Antonio one is still up.
It's coming soon. We will definitely be notifying everyone as soon as it's available. We are working very hard to make that up and running. There will be an email that goes out, and it will be up on our social media. So that's the best way to find out about when these things are up. Any other questions, challenges you faced? Okay, we just got one. If you're using social media at an event, how can you tell if your tweets are performing and what your return on investment is? So if you want to know how your tweets are performing, you can actually go into Twitter, and each tweet gives you analytics, and you can see kind of what the performance on that is.
I was just going to jump in and say, just like looking at the analytics and seeing like what content is getting the most reach and what's getting the most likes and retweets, I would try and stick with content like that. Like if you're noticing that tweets with photos are getting more interaction, then try tweeting out more photos. If you're seeing that tweets that involve you adding more or mentioning people are getting more interaction, then start mentioning more people, and just kind of keeping track of what content your followers are enjoying.
And always asking questions is a great way to draw in more engagement. And like we mentioned earlier, tweeting and using social media more as a person than as a brand definitely draws in more engagement and closes that barrier that can sometimes be there. As far as return on investment goes, it's hard to pin a number to it. We do get this question every year. We can talk to the value behind using it on site, how many people you can reach, and how its brand, your brand will be recognized. Last year, at our last event in San Antonio, there were almost 5,000 tweets that were sent, and there was a estimated reach of over 1 million people. That's people engaging with the hashtag and with the brand. That's a lot of people. Because it's online, it goes way beyond the walls of the event. And it also, it's a way to be a part of the experience other than just standing at your booth. So you can engage with people outside of trade show hours and in a completely different way than you would waiting for them to come up and talk to you in the share hall.
It looks like we got another question. When are the best times to tweet
or use social media to reach attendees? We see a lot of involvement actually during the keynote. So if you actually have a full week pass in addition to being an exhibitor, a lot of people tweet highlights of the keynote, reactions afterwards. It's a really popular time on Twitter for the Share event. Other than that, it's really ongoing throughout the entire week. People tweet tidbits of information they learned in the session, something funny they heard, pictures of things they enjoy. It's constantly going on. Of course, from a brand perspective, if you can have things scheduled to be going out while the Technology Exchange Expo is open, that's always helpful because then your name is going to be showing up on that Twitter wall TV screen that's in in the expo hall, so people will be seeing you while they're walking around the Technology Exchange Expo.
We received another question. Where do I find the app? It will be okay.
The app is in your Apple Store,
your Android store, and it will be available. But again, we'll send out a notification via email, social media when the app is available for download for Atlanta.
And there will be links for going to directly to download it. Do you do ads on Twitter for share, and what is the ROI you see on that? We do ads on Twitter. We do ads on all social media platforms, and we've seen a large increase in traffic to our website and engagement on our channel as well as followers. So we do recommend that if you're going to use links on Twitter, which you should be doing if you want to drive people to your website, a really great way to measure your ROI and to see what's working for you is to use a Google URL tracking link. If you put into a Google search bar, Google URL Builder, it will give you some instructions on how you can make your own tracking link, and then that will tell you how many people are going to your website from these tweets you're putting out there. It's definitely something that you'll want to involve your marketing team with. They'll have to go look at your Google Analytics, but it provides a lot of valuable information, and we highly recommend it.
Another question, do you think live tweeting will be effective? I'd say so. I think it keeps you at the top of the timeline too. But as long as you're tweeting something that you're tweeting relevant content, you're not just tweeting to get your name out on top of the timeline. As long as you're sharing information about what's happening at the event and staying up to date and just having fun with it too. So I would definitely say to live tweet as much as you can.
And we're also putting together kind of our guide to live tweeting, so that will be available on the Exhibitor Resources webpage leading up to the event. So that will give you some tips and tricks for how to go about live tweeting during Share Atlanta if that's something you haven't done before.
What types of tweets work most? I would say I tend to try and use at least one or two hashtags per tweet, and trying to include an image if possible. And if you're trying to link back to your website, obviously the website link, but I think that just trying to make sure images are definitely a good way to keep your content relevant and exciting. And I would definitely say hashtag will get you on all those different channels.
Don't overdo it with the hashtags though. Twitter finds the most successful tweets are shorter. They don't necessarily utilize all 140 characters, and they only use 1 to 2 hashtags, and they're used in an organic way, so not necessarily just added on to the end of the tweet. So think about that as you're planning your content and prepping for the event. And like we've said, having personality, having fun with it, engaging with attendees, responding to people, asking questions. They're people just like you are, and that's the best way to grab their attention. Do we have any other questions? These have been some great ones so far. All right. Well, if that's it, we are going to wrap things up. Just a few friendly reminders that you're always welcome to send us questions at #ShareATL, at ShareHQ, and at media@share.org, and we'll be at the event. So feel free to find us. We did have one more question that just came in, though, or actually a few.
Do you post a lot on LinkedIn? I mean, we do try and post on LinkedIn 3 to 4 times a week, and we post our blog content, we're posting videos, we're sharing different articles, so I would suggest LinkedIn is a good channel.
A follow-up question was asked, is that a good platform for marketing? And I'm going to assume that the question is about LinkedIn. Absolutely. We find a lot of value in LinkedIn, but you have to be using it the right way. So we try and post to our company page and use LinkedIn's advertising and targeting capabilities to find our audience. So I would definitely post updates to your company page about being at the event and highlight what you're doing there. We do stay away from groups though, because you are a brand, you're not a person, and you don't want to be seen as an interrupter to the conversation. And sometimes when brands post in groups, that's how it can be perceived. So we definitely use LinkedIn. It's a great tool. Use it during the event. But our recommendation would be to keep it on your company page. And I think that's it. We hope you all found this helpful and valuable. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And we look forward to seeing you in Atlanta.